Forgot I had that drop in there. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that. I used to use that as my opening for Film Junkie Live. What's happening, everybody? How's it going? It's Saturday. It's Saturday. It's not a lazy Saturday. Definitely not a lazy Saturday, but got a lot done today. You know, ever just feel happy that when you clean your apartment, shh, when you just clean your apartment, it's like it's just something, or clean your house, you know, because I it's been a little bit since I did like a deep clean. Usually it just wipe off here and there, but this time I was like I went to town on like everything, floors, all this stuff, so everything's looking good, and I got a nice tall mug of freaking beer right now. So. Mm. But yeah, guys, welcome to the Patreon stream. Something I try to do once a month for people who subscribe to the Patreon. Uh, post flash. Yeah. Well, let me get to the chat in a little bit. Yeah, yes. But if you're new to this, yeah, basically, I got a Patreon, so I think I always go like, all right. So once a month, let's try to, if you want to be subscribed to it, you're helping support the channel, which I have the link provided there. So if you want to subscribe for some bonus content, and then yeah, like I said, once a month, I try to do a stream and talk to the Patreon family. So it's always fun to do that. We got Eric right here. Okay. We got Mr. James Newport. What's going on? Good to see you. Fear Jason is here as well. We got Droga. What's happening? Eleanor, how you doing? Is there going to be another? Yeah. I mean, we'll have it sometime. Yeah. We'll talk Flash. Probably talk a little bit tonight, but I know not everybody's seen it. No spoilers, no nothing. Don't worry, never any spoilers. That's next vodka stream. Now you need a neon light to match the aesthetic. Ah, right. Well, I do. I have the open sign. I just don't have it plugged in right now. So, how's it going? We got Tet right here too. Good to see you. All right. We got Jordan. How would you rate Flash 1 out of 10? I have to think about that one. I don't know. I want to see it again though. I want to see if it has like if I like it. I have a feeling I'm gonna like it even more the second time around. But just kind of wondering about that rewatch value, which I'm pretty sure it'll be good. I got Modelo, doing Modelo today, so I like Modelo. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So that's what I got in the mug right there. And it's cool because the mug holds like 2 beers. So it's pretty sweet. Hello. Yeah, see, that's the bad part. Yeah, I mean, I was spoiled too. Don't worry. I was also spoiled. I knew about some things. So, no, I mean, yeah, it happened to me too. It was just like one of those things. And I've just gotten to the point where it's like, hey, it's gonna happen, especially when it comes to live streaming and doing videos and being on YouTube. It's just gonna happen. You can't prevent it. I can't prevent it. So I look at it as, you know what? If it happens, I'm still gonna go see it and still hopefully enjoy it because I always just take it like, okay, that's gonna happen. Now I want to see how it plays out. Because yeah, you can get spoiled. You get spoiled by words, but then at the same time, it's like, if you don't see the footage or see what the scene is or the cameos or whatever the hell. So yeah, it's just like a common thing now. It's just with all these fan screenings, all these screenings that they're doing, which I get that they're really trying to boost the movie, but partially it's just like, geez, I mean, there's so many people that have seen it now, so it's just absolutely crazy. Anyways, all right, what's going on, Eric?
Hey, man.
How's it going?
Well, short notice again, but at least I came in on time.
Short notice again. I sent it out like
Yeah,
earlier today.
today. Yeah, today.
Okay. So do I? Okay. So tell me when I should let you know, Eric.
On Film Junkie Live.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay.
I mean,
So
usually you do. You see, what I'm getting at, usually you do. So there you go.
What? What was that?
Usually you do. I'm just saying. Now I get like if you thought, hey, why don't we do it tonight? That's fine. I'm just saying. I'm just commenting on the fact that it did, and at least, as I said, at least I came in on time.
I know, but you get all passive aggressive, man. It's like Jesus Christ.
Well, to be fair, call it a bit of loose change. I mean, it's not like we're all passive aggressive in our time.
Okay, but I'm just saying, it's like I don't know. It's like you come in guns blazing sometimes. Like I should have called you or sent you something or something like that. Like, hey, buddy,
you want guns? Hey, you want guns blazing?
there's guns there.
All right. And for those of you who don't know, here's my droid sidekick, R7D6.
Oh,
there you go.
There you go. So how's it going?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. My drink of the day, I figured, and I guess it is pure luck, even though like I didn't realize it was today until I checked the Patreon. It's like, oh crap, until I actually saw the notification. But still, I happened to have a little something. In this case, it's an old favorite. It's the Nitro Pepsi Vanilla Draft. All right, and a word of warning for those of you who are uninitiated: the moment you open this, you better start sipping because the fuzz comes out right away.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy crap! All right, never tried it. I'm not sure I want it. Really,
and it's really good. I mean, as I said before, like it is very smooth. I mean, it's the kind of thing that usually, like with most sodas, you don't like it when it's like when it gets flat or whatever. But this is made to be smooth, and there's an enhancement to that taste like crazy. I love it.
So the nitro enhances it.
Yep, it does. It says in here, smooth, creamy, easy to drink, good stuff. Far less likely to burp from it, if you know what I mean.
So so it's not as carbonated.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's meant to be. It's not It's not supposed to be carbonated, which is why like with most sodas, when it's flat, it tastes weird. It feels weird, but not this one. This one is actually really, really good.
Interesting. I've never tried it. I'm not really a soda drinker anymore, so
there you go.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't see it happen. But well, thank you for joining. Even though it was short notice.
Well, whatever. I gotta say, like I always look forward to it. I always really do look forward to it. But I'm only say it's like when I know that it's going to happen. That's when I prepare something interesting to bring on. But I don't know. But like I said, this was by luck enough. I happened to do this. I actually did have another big New Yorker today, but it was pepperoni. Don't worry. I was like, oh well.
Oh yeah, no pineapple. What's going on, Brad?
Hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing?
Yeah.
Good. You're a little low with your audio.
Oh, let me see.
Yeah, might want to turn it up just a little bit. But yeah, it's a little low. But thank you for joining. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Test, test,
Tell me
test.
that, but it says-
What's that? See, yeah, you're still a little low.
Yeah, very low. I can't hear you at all.
Just give me a second. Let me try that.
Okay, that's fine. But let's see, what are we looking at here? What's this? The Schumacher cut absolutely needs to happen. Fan edits like the Red Book or virtual work print are already significant improvements over the theatrical cut. A 170-minute cut can only expand on that. Yeah. 170 minutes.
Okay, I forget. So, how long is the Red Book, which is like right now the definitive fan cut?
The Red Book, I don't know what the Red Book is, like all that spliced together, but the cut, the actual Schumacher cut is 170 minutes.
Yeah, I get that. I was just wondering if it's longer than the Red Book or is it shorter? I mean, is there stuff that we've never seen?
Oh yeah, there's plenty. I'm sure there's still some scenes that we haven't seen. Maybe I don't know. You got me on that. I just remember. I remember when people were talking about it. I mean, I posted my video earlier today that I did almost 3 years ago. It was June of 2020. This was like right when the pandemic began. And I remember I recorded it. I recorded it before I went to go visit my dad in Vegas when he was still living in Vegas. And I remember editing it on my laptop at my dad's and posting it, and just kind of like, I forgot that this whole thing was like there was like a scenes missing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Never really thought like, and then of course when the release of Schumacher campaign started, I helped try to get it out there, but then it was kind of like, I don't know if we're gonna get it or not. But then, Jesus Christ, Kevin Smith just drops a bomb yesterday.
Yeah, and I will say, like, the Red Book is good, is a vast improvement as it is. It's just obviously there's a lack of polished special effects, but hey.
Well, it's polished everything. It's all, even the footage is grainy, and
Yeah.
It doesn't. Talk, Brad. Are you good?
That was me.
Yeah. Okay, you're a little bit louder, but still kind of low.
Yeah.
Do you have like a microphone that you're using?
No, that's actually something I'm trying to upgrade. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. So I don't know if there's any way to like turn up whatever you're using. Are you using like your computer's mic?
Yeah. It's like,
okay.
I gotta. You might just move over to my phone real quick. Hold on.
Well, you're sounding a little bit better. I don't know if you're doing anything, but it's still kind of low. So, but hey, we got Mr. Sci-Fi Turner.
Hey,
what's happening? What's going on, William?
Hold on. Let me come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Store's still open, so
yeah.
What's up? I see Brad's having some sound issues again, eh?
Yeah, a little bit, a little low.
Well,
it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
I mean, microphones. Yeah, just maybe check the settings, and maybe it's, I don't know. I know StreamYard can get a little weird when it comes to certain things, but
yeah. Well, God knows audio issues happen to me all the time. Remember that?
Yeah, that happens to you too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, could have been worse. Could have been Garza's.
Well, Garza was having, that was a long time ago. He was having just video issues. So.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Freezing up. Yeah, but I will say, like, now, obviously, like the deleted scenes that were used in the Red Book edition, again, like they were a very good improvement with the whole subplot with Bruce, like finding out, like that this guilt that he was feeling over his parents' death, were like it really like there was no reason for it after all.
Yeah,
that was like really good. And of course, like there's more stuff with Tommy Lee Jones's Harvey that's like, look, he's still crazy, hammy, but he's still somewhat more acceptable. Like there's more of an idea that that the craziness is him lashing out. More of that, like when he's when a Bruce is like when Batman's fighting him, it's like, Harvey, I'm not going to kill you. It's like, oh yeah, Batman doesn't kill. That's a rap. That's a laugh, which is a nice nod to Michael Keaton.
That's true. That's very true.
Were you talking about Batman Forever?
Yeah, I was just talking about the Schumacher cut. You saw the video about that Kevin Smith posted, or from his podcast?
Yeah, that he was going to read the script. Here's the thing about
not the script. You got a copy of the actual.
Oh, he got actually a copy of the actual film.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Batman Forever. It's actually my second favorite overall Batman movie.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I've said I even when I posted the video about it 3 years ago, I even rewatched it. I said it then, and I even said it last night on the Vodka stream. I like it better than Batman Returns.
Yeah,
it's my second favorite. My overall favorite. And here's two things that are probably going to be unpopular. My favorite, most complete overall Batman movie is the most recent one. Not saying that Robert Pattinson is the best Batman, but the overall Batman aesthetics, everything about the movie, it is the most complete from top to bottom. And then number 2 is Batman Forever. Now, when it comes to the Schumacher cut, the movie I saw in 1995, to me, that movie was out near perfect for me. I don't know what more do I need.
Well, it's gonna be a little bit more depth. In the psyche of Bruce. That's what it's gonna have a lot. And then it's got a different opening. I mean, I get it because this is not like it's not like a Snyder Cut situation.
Yeah,
where we don't want to watch that piece of shit. But we could definitely just watch. I could still watch Batman Forever whenever it's on. I love the movie, but I'm just curious to see the extended cut that had those layers with Bruce really digging down, and then of course, there's scenes with him and Dick talking about. And him trying to help Dick with the loss of his parents and stuff like that too. So
I mean, as it is, like there's a lot of. I agree. There's a lot of great stuff in Batman Forever, especially all the arc between Bruce and Dick, where Bruce is constantly reaching out to him, and he lets him know, like, look, if you're stuck on this whole revenge, it's going to consume you, and I know it's because I've been through that.
Yeah,
I love those parts.
I remember those, yeah.
These came out.
Is that the Batman Forever mugs? Yeah. I think I had 1 or 2 of those.
I got the whole set. 2 of them are here. This is the Riddler one.
Yeah.
And it's sculpted with the upside down handle.
Yeah.
And then this is the one with the upside down handle. This is the Riddler one, and that's the other one's Tommy Lee Jones. This is a Happy Meal thing.
Yeah.
I remember those. Hey, I remember the posters for Batman Forever. The posters that was nothing but the green question mark.
The teaser poster? Yeah.
Yeah, the teaser poster is nothing but that. I was like, whoa, okay.
I got that.
Oh, there you go.
I got that, and I got the movie poster for it.
Yeah, Brad, you're still kind of low. You sound like you're in the trunk of a car still.
You
might be.
I'm going to get off, and I'm going to try this from my phone. That's okay?
Okay. Yeah, try that, because we're getting a little echo, I think, from yours as well.
I'll be right back, guys.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's having some issues. Anyways, but no, I mean, it's funny, too, because I think what was I just talking about? I was just talking about Batman Forever. This is what's funny. I was just talking about Batman Forever with, I was talking with my buddy who I took to see The Flash. We were talking about seeing Batman Forever. He said that the first Batman movie that he saw in the theaters was Batman Forever. I saw Batman 89 and Returns, but I remember specifically when I saw Batman Forever in the movie theater. I was living in Redlands, which is just right over the hill right here, and they had a shitty theater that was old as hell. I mean, it was just because it was in downtown, and it had the marquee and everything like that. It was called the Rainbow Theater. It had 2 screens. Yeah, and that's right, because you lived around. But so opening night, me and my best friend, we go and wait out in line for 2 or 3 hours in the rain. It was raining, and we were just waiting for the movie. And that was when I saw it, and of course loved it. And I think I saw it a couple more times too.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, like I said, like you guys, I agree with both of you guys. I'm sure a lot of folks, their issues with Batman Forever is that it is a somewhat different change of pace from Tim Burton's, but I agree. Like, it is still very enjoyable. If you keep that disappointment away, it is very entertaining, very enjoyable. It's great as it is the film into itself.
It was a success.
The one weakness would be the fact that Tommy Lee Jones seems led to try and top Jim Carrey with the ham. Yeah,
that's the bad part about it. Is like Tommy Lee Jones goes a little too crazy with it. But
Yeah.
Brad, how we doing now? Brad? Uh-oh.
Am I back on?
Yeah, you're back on. Yeah, but you still sound like you're muffled a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm back
Are you on? Yeah.
Try my phone. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, no, but yeah, I mean, there's that whole story where I think Jim Carrey's the one that said it, right? That he said Tommy Lee Jones did not like him at all, and then try to outdo him when it came to just being zany and weird. I mean, when you watch it again, it is funny because you just kind of go like, yeah, what the hell were you even thinking here?
Honestly, like there was no reason for it. I mean, certainly, like looking at like even with the dialogue, if Tommy Lee Jones had played it straight, it would have been a nice little contrast between the more serious Two-Face and the more crazy Riddler. There would have been a nice little dynamic there. But for whatever reason, Tommy just like did not feel the need to do that. He felt the need to go the other way, try to top him.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like I hate it. You watch it and you go, wow, he was really trying something. I mean, again, like I said, I still really like the movie, but yeah, it's just kind of interesting how he decided to play. And I love Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I remember talking to somebody, I forgot, I don't know if it was on the Vodka stream, one of the people on the panel or somebody, but they said that they can't watch it because they didn't like Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I'm like, how can you not like Jim Carrey as the Riddler?
Yeah, that's not that bad. In fact, also like talking about acting, like whenever Jim Carrey, when his Edward Nygma is not in the Riddler persona, he is toning it down. He's more like he's Edward Nygma, the businessman who's now competing with Bruce. Or at first where he's the scientist trying to work for Bruce, and then he leaves and he does his own business. And when he's on TV getting interviewed, he's more serious. But when he's the Riddler persona, that's when he's going crazy. Which
I mean, he's still
because Jim Carrey is a much better actor than people realize. Because everyone thinks of him as the comedian, but if you ever see,
he's a great actor. But I mean, like, what I always thought was funny is like, especially when Nygma throws that big party. Well, he's trying to be Bruce Wayne. His hair is like Bruce Wayne. He's wearing the tuck. When Bruce Wayne puts on his glasses, which I still think is funny that Bruce Wayne in the glasses thing, but whatever. And so he puts on the glasses. I mean, you can see that his obsession is still there to the point where he's trying to look like him, act like him, and everything like that. So I did like that aspect of the story. And everything, so.
That's two Batman movies.
We got
okay,
Brad.
trying again. Is this working now?
There you go.
Yeah,
That's great. Yes.
Fantastic. God, I'm sorry about those early technical difficulties there.
Yeah, no problem. It happens, man. It happens.
Well, let me put on my avatar, but I'm here now.
Yeah. Your avatar's not there, but hey, as long as we could hear your voice.
Yeah, so my phone is, it was option B, but you can hear me. That's the important thing.
That's the important part. All right.
Because I didn't want to miss out on all this Batman Forever and Flash talk tonight. So.
That's right. Yes, we were just talking about the story, and I was talking about when did you see it in the movie theaters, Brad?
I don't think I did when I was, because again I was a little kid when Forever came out. I saw it I don't think I saw it theatrically, but I did see it. Just pretty much as soon as it hit home video. And of course I was definitely I mean, it was Batman. Of course, I was the prime audience for that. And, to what William was saying a minute ago about like this being, his number 2 Batman movie as far as movies that just kind of capture the essence of Batman. And you're definitely right there. You're talking about the Batman. I mean, that's the most detective Batman movie we've seen, by far. And then, with the comparison to Batman Returns, I mean, it's, you look at those two side by side. I mean, Batman Returns, it's got a lot of Tim Burton kind of uniqueness to it, but it's really not a Batman movie. So
I mean, like in the whole intro sequence, like when Bruce gets the bat signal and he steps up in Batman Returns, where he's sitting in his office brooding, and then the bat signal, then he stands up, like that scene. And also Kevin Smith has said that scene is in and of itself one of the greatest Batman scenes of all time.
I will agree with that.
But the movie itself, yeah, but the movie itself, well, Michelle Pfeiffer is Catwoman, but other than that, It's passable.
She's the best
Well,
part, and yeah, that shot of him doing that, yeah, that's awesome.
Well, it's a great gift.
Yeah,
It's a great gift.
but it's too Tim Burton for me. Like it was
Yeah.
like when it came to the Batman '89, we didn't have the big time Burton isms in there because I think he was really trying to be like, all right,
That was
let's
a,
make
yeah.
it like this. And then when it came to Batman Returns, they just said do whatever you want, and he made it like a Tim Burton, which I like Tim Burton, I like his style, but it was just too much. I think for a Batman movie with me, with the whole I mean, he changed both Penguin and Catwoman. I mean,
Massively.
Catwoman, it was not the same
Yeah.
style that's from the books, and she got bit by cats,
Radioactive
and
cats.
I guess so. I guess they had some kind of magical powers because then she had 9 lives, literally, and gives baths to herself. Apparently, oh, that was such a weird scene. And then, of course, the Penguin. I think he changed the Penguin for the good, though. I mean, even though it's not the mob boss Penguin, I like the more deformed.
Yeah, it is
yeah.
It's a very unique take on the Penguin that that Danny DeVito does in Batman Returns. But going back to William's point about Batman Forever, it's like that was kind of the progression that it made from Returns. Is that Forever? It's like it is very much it is a Batman movie. It's very centered on, and even more so, it's a Bruce Wayne movie because it's centered on his the scarring that he went through with the loss of his parents, and now he's got this new kid in his life who's gone through the same experience, and he's been down this road, and he's like, you might think that this vendetta that you're after is going to, it's what you want, but like I've gone down this road, and I know once you cross that line, this is what it does to you.
Yeah, and just when we're talking about great scenes where Dick flips out and just lashes out at Batman, just tries to hit him over and over and over, and Batman just flips a little bit and then stops him and says, "If Bruce Wayne could have saved your parents, he would have."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good.
Yeah, he said if he would have given his life too. So.
Yeah.
And it's funny with Robin, and if you notice in most theatrical portrayals of Robin, up until recently, they've all been adults. They've never done a kid. And the reason why they did that, the reason why they explained that, is because it just would be precarious. You can get away with endangering a minor on paper, but it's really different cinematically. It just comes across differently when you're putting a minor, which is supposed to be in some cases a 12 to 15-year-old kid, in mortal danger on a regular basis as part of the job. You can get away with it on a piece of paper, but even in TV shows and movies, it's always been an adult for the most part.
Yeah, so that's the issue that they're gonna have with Brave and the Bold, I imagine, right? They're gonna have Damian. I mean, obviously, we all want 12-year-old at least. Are they gonna actually do it?
Although in the case of Damian, the part of it, his story is that when he shows up, he's already been this kid warrior trained by the League, by Ra's al Ghul and the Legion. In the League, but now Bruce has to now he's in Bruce's hands. So he's the damage has already been done, and Bruce is trying to how do I deal with that?
Yeah, generally when Damien's on the screen or on the page, he's not the one in danger. He's the other people are in mortal danger.
He's causing the danger.
Yeah,
I am the danger, as Heisenberg says.
Yeah, you got to make him 1 inch away from just being a total sociopath.
Yeah, I guess that's what they have to do if they're gonna get away with the whole we're gonna have a kid Robin that's being put in these situations. You got to make him you got to make him an asshole. He is an asshole.
You got to make him a dick.
yeah, I know. I didn't want to. Yeah, but I don't want to play on words. But yeah, you're right. Make him a dick. Make him a dick, not a Dick Grayson, but just a dick.
Yeah.
So.
Do you still have that clip, by the way, of a Zack Snyder going, dick?
Oh yeah, I still got that drop. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I kind of going back real quick to what William was saying about the Schumacher, because I'd heard you say that on 1 or 2 streams ago, William, where it's you kind of really like Batman Forever, the version we've seen. So it's the Schumacher cut is kind of it's oh, what's this all about? And the interesting thing about that is, in some ways, I kind of feel like I haven't seen the Red Book edition. That's kind of more of a fan edit, is my understanding. But when I was a kid, I read the Batman Forever novelization, and that's interesting. That's interesting to read. There's a fair amount of stuff in there that's not in the movie, and it's something like what you described, where it's like it's got the scene at the beginning in Arkham where Harvey Dent like kills that orderly, and it's got more Robin's backstory and kind of the history with the Two-Face and Batman. So it's not totally comparable to Snyder Cut in the sense that you're getting more, but you're not getting it's not a completely different movie.
Well, the story wasn't corrupted. And see, that's the one thing
exactly,
about director's cuts in general. And like my favorite director of all time, Ridley Scott, he's got director's cuts, and when you watch them, you realize that the producers were right. In most cases, listen, some directors are not that great outside of being directors. Even if they're producers, they're primarily directors. But when you're sitting on the executive producer, or you're the person watching the dailies and you're seeing everything come together from 2 or 3 levels above, sometimes you just have a better view than the guy who's really passionate and who's 2 inches away from it. Because the Alien director's cut was a waste of time for me, and I paid for that.
Yeah. But on the same token, you still, like we're talking about Ridley Scott, Kingdom of Heaven is an example of the director's cut being far better. Where like the original cut is a mess, but the director's cut is much better.
And like, how many versions of Blade Runner are there? I mean, like what, 7?
And all of his cuts aren't that great. See, and you have 7 different versions, and you have to put them all together and add other things to get to the international cut, which is the best overall. But his first director's cut of Blade Runner, I have it here, and it's real close to the trash can, and it doesn't go in because it's Blade Runner. The only reason why it's not in the can is because it's Blade Runner, and I can't bring myself to throw Blade Runner in the garbage. But his first director cut that came out, that was horrible. He took the voiceovers off of it because he didn't want them there. But when you try to get somebody into Blade Runner to watch that movie, the voiceovers are what makes that movie for a lot of people. And Alan Ladd and the people, that were footing the bill for that movie made him put those in. He did not want it, neither did Harrison Ford. And sometimes the people who are running the show are better than, they have a better perspective of it, and you got to let them do their thing, just like the director has to do his thing.
I mean, most people are of the opinion that, and I frankly, I kind of agree with this. Much as I love hard-boiled detective narration in noir and so on, the narration in the theatrical cut of Blade Runner is not the best. And you could say that's part, and also, if you notice, Harrison Ford is pretty much the first to agree with it, which is why he's kind of, when he's reading it, he sounds bored out of his mind. But still, it's like
made to do it. He did not want to do it, and you can hear it in his voice.
Although it is worth noting, if you look at in the behind the scenes of a Blade Runner, that the earlier draft of the movie did have a narration. It was a much different narration, and what I see in the script, it was arguably a better narration. But then they said, take it out, and then they say, now put one in. But
I think the narration, it works because of just the aesthetic and the atmosphere of the movie. It's 2019, which we're like 4 years past that now, and we don't have any.
Where's my flying car?
I know.
Where's my flying car?
Where those?
I've been saying that since Back to the Future 2.
Right? We still don't have a hoverboard. 2015.
Oddly enough, for what I've read, the hoverboards, there are prototypes of those hoverboards that have been tested and are working, but they're just not on the market, though.
Yeah. They labeled those ones with the wheels like a hoverboard.
Yeah.
They lean and whatever the hell. I'm like, that's not a hoverboard. How dare you take that name, hoverboard? It's not a hoverboard. It's just whatchamacallit. It's one of those segways or whatever the heck they call those without the handles.
The Paul Blart Mall Cop thing?
Yeah. But it's basically that without the freaking, the handles.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, by the way, Dave, I was just thinking about what you were saying about narration, and it's like, you know what? The way they could have solved that is just, and this probably wouldn't have worked back then, but just get Kurt Russell to do it.
Right? Kurt Russell's a good narrator. But again, narration helps. Even going back to what William was saying about the Batman, that's one of the things that I love about the Batman is there's narration in that too. Right from the start. It's not throughout, obviously, but it has that start and then it has it at the finish. I'm kind of wondering how much Matt Reeves will actually incorporate when it comes to narration in the next Batman movie, whenever we get it. Jeez.
Strike,
strike. Yeah. But I think that's part people are kind of going like, hey, maybe this is one of the reasons why Warner Brothers is like, fuck it, let's put a new edition of Batman Forever together. We got this Flash movie coming out that is all about the multiverse and whatever the fuck. So let's like use
Yeah.
that to maybe release another. I don't know. It just kind of came out of nowhere because I
Well,
honestly was not hearing anything about it.
and
Yeah.
actually, yeah, to that point, because I was thinking about somewhat similar to those lines, because we were talking about doing that with the Schumacher cut, and that maybe being like something they thought of because of the writer's strike. Could that also maybe be something that could maybe grease the wheels a bit for the Ayer cut?
That's what I'm hoping to.
I saw
There
you
you go. That's a great point. Yeah, I did not think of it. That's brilliant because with the writers guild, with the writers strike happening, and who knows how long it's going to be, you gotta give the audience something while they fill in this void. So if we've got these director's cuts on the shelf, we might as well polish them and put them together. There you go. Schumacher cut, Ayer cut. Who knows?
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. Now a lot of people are thinking about that too. I mean, again, I mean, when it comes to money that's invested in the Schumacher cut, way less, obviously. I'm sure. I mean, like I said, the footage is already there. They're just gonna clean it up. I know Kevin Smith said that there's temporary score. I don't know if they're gonna do anything with that or just keep whatever that's in there. But I mean,
Yeah,
the fact that he got sent a screener or whatever the heck just leads me to believe. All right, we're going to get something. We have to.
Yeah, when you were talking about the temp score, I'm wondering if because I listened to the audiobook of the novelization of Batman Forever, and a lot of the music they use now is the Danny Elfman Batman theme. So I'm wondering, is that in the the Schumacher cut of Batman? I don't know.
All right, I forget. Who was the guy who did the score for Batman Forever, Batman and Robin?
That's a good question. Probably need to look that up.
Because if he's still alive, they might as well bring him on.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Well, certain rumors about the Flash should be believed. He might, be. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see who scored. Let's see.
Yeah.
Starting a ticket push for the Flash like yesterday. So all these projections are like, I'm like, wait a minute, we haven't even started the major ticket push, and I'm already getting people giving $7
It was
million.
Elliot. Okay, it was Elliot Golden.
I saw you post a lot of the stuff on Twitter earlier, where it's you have a lot of the merchandise and apparel you've kind of put up there for the Flash.
Yeah. Warner Brothers is definitely all in.
Oh, big time! Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I mean, to be perfectly honest, I don't know if I've ever seen, like in my lifetime, I don't know that I've ever seen Warner Brothers push a DC movie as aggressively as they push the Flash.
Not in the 12 years that we've been doing this with them.
Dude, they are pushing this hard. I mean, I'm just hoping that it doesn't that it's not backfiring for them because of like now you could just see spoilers out there like crazy, for sure.
Yeah.
But
Also, I mean, as far as backfiring, I am surprised that they're hyping it up as much as they are, considering how it's one of the last films of the current DCU. Unless the idea is that they're kind of passive aggressively saying, "Here's the grand finale."
If they're smart, somebody's echoing that.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say, Brad, you have earbuds that you can maybe put in?
Yeah, sure. Let me go ahead and do that. Hold on.
Because we're getting an echo from yours.
Yeah.
It might be my fan actually. People tell me that when I've got my fan going.
That's fine, but I think we're hearing our voices a little bit through your speaker.
It's certainly not me, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
If you take away the comic book movie aspect of it and you just say, I have something and I just sold a bunch of it, and usually when you do that, no matter what you're selling, you do more of what you're just selling. You get more of it and you sell it until those sales go down. Yeah. Like I've always said, if people make a connection with Sasha Kaye as Supergirl and anything in this, and you make a decent amount of money, retail says you do what pays the bills because it's the business. So
I know we've had this discussion before. It's like but at the same time, it's like now that I've seen the movie, I'm like, okay, well, obviously it's got a very much lighter tone. It's the Flash. It doesn't need a dark tone. I get that. But I'm just kind of going like, all right, just seeing how it all plays out, and then the fact that it introduces a multiverse, I guess you could just be kind of like, all right, well, it just means that the multiverse is always going to be, maybe can be there
accessible
somewhere. Yeah, there you go, accessible. So I don't know.
I mean,
I have seen nothing but just glowing praise for Sasha Kaye from everybody who's given reactions to Flash so far.
Free the bat nipple. I like it.
Oh my God.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, that is a good point. That like, look, even if it is the end of the is like the one of the last films right now of the DCU that we know, it's like the very fact that this multiverse idea has now been set up, much like Doctor Strange and multiverse, or actually, and also Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah, I mean, it certainly does set up the possibility of films in these different universes, like even more so coming up.
Hopefully
Like
not as hopefully
Dude,
not as
across the
sloppy and
Spider-Verse.
disorganized as
Yeah.
Marvel's done it.
that too.
I know so much
Yeah.
multiverse stuff is
I mean,
great.
having said that, though, while we're talking about what gets the money and what pays the bills, I'm pretty sure a lot of people, like after No Way Home, a lot of people would have been stoked to see Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4 or an Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Oh,
But
dude, I still
We were
am.
all- yeah, everybody was campaigning for it. I mean, I
yeah,
think who knows what they're gonna do. I mean, that's the thing. It's like now, what do you do moving forward with Spider-Man? Obviously, Across the Spider-Verse is killing it, and everybody, it's over 300 million worldwide. It'll probably, it's gonna do better than the first one, way better. It started off better, but I mean, you have that, and then it's just like, to me, I don't know. I don't know what it's just. I'm kind of wondering what's happening over there because people still want to, like you said, yeah, people want to see another Tobey Maguire. Maybe he doesn't want to do it, fine. But I think, and then of course you have Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield. Maybe he doesn't want to do it either because of the bad
well,
experience that he had the first time. But he's
well,
but he's open to just showing up and being like, oh yeah, I'm this
and honestly,
Spider-Man.
with his bad experiences, he deserves a good send off
He
because
does.
after all the work he put into it, he deserves something better than what he
Well,
had.
and of course, avoiding spoilers for anybody watching who hasn't seen Across the Spider-Verse. I mean, it's the movie. Let's say makes every iteration of Spider-Man very pertinent to the modern age.
Yes,
Yeah.
it definitely does. Even your R2 guy says that too.
Yep. He's the first to agree, aren't you?
Yeah. And actually, I mentioned maybe like a little bit of a warning I thought I'd put out there for everybody is that for Across the Spider-Verse, there was a girl in my showing actually had a seizure from the movie.
No shit.
No, I'm not kidding. Man. They had to stop it for about half an hour and get some EMS people in there. I mean, they said she was fine, she'd recover, but I mean,
Yeah.
the movie is definitely an explosion of the whole color spectrum on screen. So
Yeah.
I'm
You're
actually
talking-
surprised. I'm surprised they didn't give a warning.
Yeah.
Because I got
you-
a warning when I saw the Infinity Pool. They give you a warning. I don't know if you guys saw the Infinity Pool, but they give you a warning that there's some scenes that are just like lights are flickering and you're just seeing like weird shit.
that ending is so crazy. I mean, it
Oh geez. Oh, so you saw it? Yeah, that movie's crazy. I mean, it's definitely Cronenberg, and it is insane.
No,
Huh?
No, I'm sorry. I was talking about Across the Spider-Verse. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Infinity Pool. No, I was about to
Man.
say but no, it gave a warning in front of that. But yeah, I'm surprised there wasn't a warning in front of Across the Spider-Verse because there's a lot to look at, and a lot of things are moving very, very quickly, and there's a lot of bright colors and shit. So that's
It's
great.
one of the theater workers because I was inquiring. It's like because they had to carry out on a gurney. I was like, is she okay? And they said, yeah. She'll be fine. I think they gave her a sedative or something because she looked kind of out of it. She had a seizure, but they said, I think they might have on this one, maybe that might have been like a clerical error or something. So they said, next time we're going to make sure there's a warning for epileptics. And it kind of makes you wonder because the Flash definitely looks very colorful and, pardon the pun, very flashy.
Ha. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that. Maybe there
It doesn't have the strobing stuff that Spider-Verse did. So.
Okay.
Nah,
And
that's would be okay. Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at when I was saying the ending of Across the Spider-Verse is just so insane visually. Yeah.
God, it's so good. But no, when it comes to the Flash, I mean, it's not. I mean, when he's going through the Speed Force to do the whole time travel thing, I mean, it gets trippy, but it's not like, it's not all all crazy like that. Everything's not flickering in your eyeballs. So I think anybody who suffers from that will be okay. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have your tickets already?
Yep,
Brad?
got mine. Oh yeah,
Eric?
I got mine like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I got
Eric?
about 10 of them. I'm gonna go down with some people who are in cosplay and see it on Friday.
Nice.
Yeah. I
Eric?
mean,
That sounds awesome.
the only time I've ever pre-ordered tickets was for Star Wars Force Awakens. But other than that,
So when do you plan on seeing it?
well, as soon as I can, hopefully around opening week.
Yeah. I mean, it is Father's Day weekend. I don't know if your dad take your dad and be like, "Hey, this is
Probably
your
not.
Batman."
Then, yeah, probably not with my dad because he's not. Yeah, probably not with him. But yeah,
Yeah, he's not big on the whole Batman and Flash
I
things.
mean, he likes it, but it's not like he's gonna. But it's not like like making an outing of it. I mean, he and I saw the Dark Knight trilogy in theaters, but aside from that,
Not really into it. Okay.
No, my folks are so far behind it, all the Cape shits. I mean, it's like they only just saw Man of Steel this past Christmas because because we were with my sister, and my nephew, and they also saw Black Adams. I mean, they haven't seen any of the in between.
Yeah.
And my mom, when I told her about Batman v Superman, she said something like, "Oh, they're running out of ideas, make a Batman and Superman fight."
yeah.
So
Well, to be clear, like my family, we will all see all these movies like on the small screen. Like we'll get the DVDs and watch them. But as far as going to the theater, well, it's like my sister and I will go see it. We'll see a lot of these. Again, there's a friend of mine and I will go see it. He and I are the ones most likely to go through the Flash. It just depends on when we're available. Hopefully, as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see the audience reaction. I mean, it's weird just to having already seen it, and I already posted. I got my first reaction, my non-spoiler review, and my spoiler review already out there, and I was like, maybe I should have waited on the spoiler review. Sure, but watch it. I haven't posted it on Twitter. I'm like, I'm not gonna post it on Twitter because I have a feeling that there's gonna be a lot more people are like, why the hell are you doing that already? I'm like, all right, posted it on YouTube, and then I just kind of ignored posting it on Twitter, and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna do that because I have a feeling that people are gonna be like upset.
Don't be Christ, Dave.
Yeah. Well, it's not like you don't have to don't watch it. And then my thumbnail doesn't have any spoilers in it. I chose a thumbnail that they released that concept art of like the multiverse of DC, and it shows like everybody in like the.
I remember that,
yeah. So I just used that as a background, and then I just put me and then Flash is right there, Ezra.
And it
so
says spoiler right on the title. So
exactly, I put spoilers, and I was like, and then I was even hesitant at first too. I was like, should I do this? And I'm like, and I typed it in, and I'm like, well, other people already have. I know like the big channels haven't yet, probably because they were like, yeah, we'll wait, and I probably should have, but I was like, fuck it, I already had it done and edited and ready to go, so it's out there.
This is Dave and William. Given you both have seen the movie, because I'm kind of curious about this. And by the way, I haven't watched the spoiler video yet because I am trying to preserve as much as I can for myself.
If you haven't seen it yet, yeah.
But
come back to it.
Some of the kind of discussion videos I've seen about it, and this sounds really interesting to me because these people they've been pretty good about avoiding spoilers, but they've one thing they've mentioned, and I kind of was interested in your take on it, is that kind of let's say the state of affairs by the end of the Flash. Some people have said it actually kind of raises more questions than answers, and I find that pretty interesting. So I was kind of wondering, both of you having seen it, what were your thoughts on that?
What do you say, William?
I say the way this movie rolls out and the way it ends, it leaves whoever does and takes the next steps open to do whatever they want to. Or several people can do whatever they want to. One person can go and do his thing, and the way it rolls out and the way it's left, anybody could do whatever they want. Anybody who comes out of this movie and says so and so is dead and this is what's going forward, they're full of shit for the most part. If you've actually seen the movie, because the way it presents itself, it leaves all doors open, in my opinion. And I'll just leave it at that without spoiling anything.
No, I see what you're saying right there, because it's like, all right, so I mean, what I'm taking from the Flash, and when I walked out and even talking to it with my friend, I'm like, it is, and I totally agree with people. I don't agree with, like, some people are saying it's the best DC movie ever, best superhero. No, it's not that for me, but it's not. It's still very much up there, I think, because it's definitely a love letter to DC, and there's a lot of things in there. And then, yeah, when it comes to how it ends, it's just kind of like, I mean, yeah, like I agree with William. It leaves it up for, like, anybody can really do whatever. We're still getting a little feedback, aren't we? I'm still hearing a little echo, aren't I?
Yeah, it's not mine. I'll tell you that because you muted
Let's
me.
see. Yeah, it's still Brad. You got your earbuds in?
Yeah, I do. Hold on, I'm gonna take you guys.
Interesting.
I'm gonna take you guys outside because I turned my fan off, and yeah, I am not the most technologically adept person. So if I'm
all
on a
good.
stream, I'm probably gonna be the problem child.
No, it's all good. I was just hearing, like, a little bit of our voices still, but it's not as bad as it was, like, before we did that. But I don't know. Just hearing it a little bit. So all good. All good.
One of the things I do hear about this, and it's like, well, you're using Batman in the trailers, and it's all about Keaton, it's all about that. And after seeing the movies, I can't keep a straight face talking to those people. And here's the one thing, that no matter what Ezra Miller was going through, and no matter who is playing Batman in this movie, the Flash is on the team, but he's not the JV guy. He's not the JV captain. Any movie he's in, it was going to have a Batman or a Superman in it because he's the junior member. And if you want to make money off the junior member, you use the senior members. There are.
What did they do with
people,
Homecoming? What did they do with Homecoming?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
They did that with Spider-Man. And that's Spider-Man, by the way.
Yeah.
Spider-Man doesn't need any leverage, but when it came to cinematically in the MCU, they felt like, well, yeah, let's have some Iron Man in there, which I was fine with, totally. But it's funny, yeah, and I brought this up in my review too, I think, and then you see even talking with people, is like, everybody was like going, everybody was laughing because, like, what is this, a Batman movie? You got two Batmen, you got Supergirl. Is this even a Flash movie anymore? And then when you watch the movie, you're like, yes, it's 100% start to finish a Flash movie.
Yeah.
They are, the others are supporting characters, but I mean, and then some people are like, I don't think Keaton was in it enough. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? He was in it just how he should be, because it's not going to start off like right off the bat with Michael Keaton. No, there's a whole first act that obviously is a whole different thing that happens. And yeah, of course you got that, but then it's like, it's Barry realizing something he could do, and then he goes and does it. And then when it comes to fixing it, that's where the other people start coming in, and it's like, and it's not right away. They established this whole freaking thing right at first. And
I remember with Homecoming even seeing, like, here and there complaints that Iron Man wasn't that enough, and I'm like, they peppered him in just the right amount in Homecoming. It's like they didn't want him. He was he was a supporting. He helped with integrating Spider-Man into the MCU, but they didn't want him to overshadow Spider-Man in his own movie.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that, and they don't do that with Flash either. And, like,
but
I mean, I know they're marketing like that, and I understand it, but at the same time, it's 100% a Flash movie.
Yeah. I mean, like, most of the complaints are, again, coming from the fact that the marketing is really emphasizing Keaton and kind of downplaying Flash a bit, even though it's supposed to be a Flash.
I totally understand that, though. They totally should.
Well,
I don't know. Go ahead, William.
You have to, because no matter who's wearing the bat, whether it's Keaton or whether it's Film Junkie. Listen, when you put the bat,
did you just spoil that it is making a cameo, William?
When you put the bat logo on anything, your baseline for a Batman movie or anything with the bat on it is $400 million.
Yeah.
Right. So you take the lowest grossing, and I think it's Batman Begins. If you take one of the lowest grossing Batman movies, the baseline for Batman is $400 million. So right out of the gate, you have the most popular, the most iconic of the DC characters, and you're going to use that through the marketing because most people know Batman. They know of Flash, but Batman is a singular engine that you would use no matter who's playing Batman. And if you're going to market a Flash movie, the Flash is a bench player. He's there. He's a founding member, but he's not the guy. He's not the quarterback.
And I don't know.
Batman is who you use.
I don't know. It's like maybe I'm the minority on this, but I mean, I haven't really felt like there's been like a dearth of the Flash in the Flash marketing. I felt like he's been very prominent in it.
He's been there. So, but I mean, let's face it, Keaton is very front and center when it comes to it.
Yeah.
Oh, that first trailer for the Super Bowl when he said the line, I mean, they could not have telegraphed that more if they tried. He just walks up the camera, pause for like a second or two. I'm Batman.
Yeah,
it's just funny because I like how his face even goes like, and then he just like straightens up and he goes, I'm Batman, and it's like, it was perfect. It was perfect the way that played out.
And it is a nice meta moment, like, where Keaton is, it's almost like Keaton is saying to the audience, you want me back as Batman? Well, I'm back.
It was, he could have even winked at the freaking camera if he wanted to. I mean, there's a lot of fan service. There is fan service when it comes to it. And I know, like, that term is like a 4-letter word now, I guess you could say. Like, some people don't like it, and I don't understand why people don't like fan service. I mean, if fan service that's poorly done, sure.
Usually it's poorly done, though.
When it's poorly done, it sucks. But
the majority of time fan service is done, it's bad.
Yeah.
But I thought they did a great job here.
Yeah.
And you're talking about
fine.
It's certainly a better F word than fun. I'll say that.
Well, you're talking about it's the multiverse movie. I mean, how do you not have fan service in it?
Yeah. You have to, and I mean, and that's what's going to be cool to see people's reactions to that, more of the audience, because there's some things where I was like, what the hell? Wow, that's crazy.
And one thing
although I'm sure there are some people who will be disappointed if in any of those Speed Force scenes that we don't see any glimpses of a Christian Bale's Batman, but
or do we? Dun dun dun.
Exactly.
I heard there was a rumor I saw float around a bit where it's like when it looked where it was kind of iffy whether Keaton was going to be in the Flash. There was like, well, maybe Bale was their backup plan. I don't know if that's true, but
I was talking to Sean O'Connell, and when he was on 2 weeks ago, he mentioned that. I remember I posted like a little clip too. Maybe you saw that or something too, where he said like, that he thinks that if they didn't get Keaton, I think they had Bale as the next option. And then if neither of them did it, they probably would have just went with the Thomas Wayne thing. Maybe they would have done the Jeffrey Dean Morgan Batman, which I know, we all wanted to see that after, obviously we know that he is Batfleck's Thomas Wayne, his dad. So, I mean, and seeing him in a costume, I mean, any kind of concept art or fan art that has been out there when it comes to Jeffrey Dean in that fucking Thomas Wayne Flashpoint Batman costume is pretty awesome.
Well,
I will say, like, if they had gone that route with Thomas Wayne, whether it's Jeffrey D. Morgan or anyone, there would have been a lot more people like disappointed that they didn't stay true to the comic storyline with like Aquaman and Wonder Woman fighting each other or whatever.
Well, these movies, when they adapt specific, I mean, it's never a one-to-one, adaptation of any of these stories. I mean, like Batman v Superman, it's like it takes a lot from Dark Knight Returns, but it's telling its own thing. Yeah. I mean, it's Dark Knight Returns and Death Superman in a blender. But again, it's a very original kind of take, and the same thing with like Civil War in the MCU. It's totally different from the comic book story. But
I know that. I mean, that was what was interesting about Civil War, and I think when they announced Civil War, like everybody was like, "Oh, cool!" But then I remember going, "Well, how are they going to pull that off? They don't have like
they're not the X-Men. They don't have."
I'm like, some of these guys don't even have masks.
Yeah, especially when they're introducing Spider-Man in that movie. It's like, obviously, if they're going to do that, then they can't have that great story arc between him and Captain America in the movie that they had in the comics.
Yeah, it was very interesting because it was like, wait a minute. I mean, like Spider-Man plays a pivotal role in that. I mean, and then the fact that it's like there's no way that was ever going to work. So I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's like, that's what you got to do. You got to adapt it and then adapt it to how you could do it. I know there's always, there's certain people that are just 100% needed to be adapted exactly. It's like, I don't need it to be exact. When it comes to Flashpoint, it's a great story. It's one of the best DC stories that have been told. But
despite the guy who wrote it,
there's definitely things that are in there that call back to it. But Other than
Yeah,
that, it's just the whole
honestly,
multiverse thing. So.
and because of that, I do appreciate that Muschietti was really going the extra mile in. No, this is a completely different story than Flashpoint. Instead of like, it's not going to be Thomas Wayne. No, it's an alternate Bruce Wayne, and instead of a scrawny like Clark Kent, it's going to be like Kara Zor-El, and we're not going to have the war between Aquaman and Wonder Woman. No, we're going to have Zod coming in, which
And,
I
you
do
know,
appreciate very much.
If I run out of toilet paper, I need something to wipe with, I'll pull out Flashpoint. I fucking hate that storyline.
Oh God!
I fucking hate that storyline.
Wow.
Why not just pull out a ball cap while you're at it? Use that.
Yeah.
It has nothing, listen, and this is before I gained that other dimension of dislike for that particular person. You got to realize that. Like I said, if you've been collecting long enough and you're looking at why DC sells or where they're at, shit like Flashpoint, which is like heroin, you get a real quick high off of it, and some of the stupid shit that happened afterwards, you get real high, like a junkie, no pun intended. But what happens when you do a lot of drugs? After the high is over with, you're left with long-term dumb shit, which is what 52 did, which is what
exactly
did,
did. I agree.
So William, you essentially don't. It's not that you hate the story so much, but you hate it that now that is always looked at as that's how they reset shit and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's lazy, and it wasn't that certain aspects of Flashpoint were garbage anyway. But even if you look at the way that it's continuity via laziness, vice versa. I can't work with what I have, so let me go ahead and screw up a lot of things. And if you look at what happened after Flashpoint 52, a lot of the creators did not go along with that.
Really?
And if you read Doomsday Clock, look at Doomsday Clock real close. He was on his way to doing it again.
Is that the Jeff Johns one?
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's why I don't like that storyline. But like I said, in general, but when you're talking about adapting comic book stories, what you got to understand is most of the people who are ever going to see these movies, unfortunately, will never pick up a comic book.
True. Well, I mean, look what I mean. I've been seeing people all over the timeline when it was announced that the Authority is going to make an appearance. At least some Authority members are going to make an appearance in Superman Legacy, and some people are like, "Who the fuck would even care? Nobody cares about this." Like, yeah, they don't. Yeah, if you don't pick up a comic book,
who else says that, Dave?
What?
You know who else says those exact words you just said?
Who?
Comic book collectors. Fuck these guys.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's not like James. Yeah, I mean, it's not like James Gunn hasn't taken a nobody team from the comics and made them big before.
Not as the first step of something he's building. See, the comfort zone that you have with Marvel is not this. Marvel is not DC. The comfort zone, and people always compare. And I think James Gunn can do a lot. I think he's very talented. I think he's the right guy. But do not use Guardians of the Galaxy as an example of his ability to do things going forward with DC. It's a lot of differences.
It's hard not to.
It's hard not to look at the pretty girl's ass either, but should you?
Well, here's the thing, William. It's especially hard not to when you remember. Here's the thing.
You look at what the circumstances that Guardians of the Galaxy came into, where the MCU was, as far as
they're riding the wave of Avengers.
Yeah, that is not where he is at with DC.
Here's the thing. Here's why I very much disagree with you, because here's the thing. What a lot of people forget is that MCU Phase 2 was on shaky ground. I mean, yes, they had the high of Avengers, but right after that, you got Iron Man 3 and Thor: The Dark World, one blunder after the other, and then they were like a little concerned. And then, granted, Captain America: Winter Soldier was like brought him back up, and then right after that, we got Guardians. But still, it's not like they were all riding high right after Avengers.
Yeah, it is, because you're still on way more momentum than DCU was. And if you take Guardians and made that an early MCU movie, somebody's getting fired. If Guardians of the Galaxy is your first or second movie, somebody is delivering pizza with me, and their former job was pitching that idea to that boss. That's where that is. There's a difference within the infrastructure that the MCU had before they gave you Guardians of the Galaxy and where DC is before we give you the Authority. Now, I'm not saying it can't work, because you can't go any lower than some of the things that DC's done in the last 5 years. I mean, but that's what he's done with Marvel is not necessarily an indicator of what he can do with DC. The circumstances are completely different. The management structure is completely different, and he wasn't running things in Marvel. Things were being ran for him, and he was a hired hand. He's still a hired hand now, but he's much more higher up on the thing. The stakes are much higher.
Well, and wait, to that point, because one thing, because I see both points, and it was actually something I wanted to ask, kind of ping pong off of that. But like one thing I will say, as far as like the inclusion of the Authority or just that project generally, like one thing that I think does signify, this isn't necessarily like an indicator of success per se, but one way that I think Gunn, whatever else you might think of, the roadmap going forward is a step up from the previous administration, is that Gunn he's unambiguously, he's a fanboy. I mean, he's a DC fanboy, he's a Marvel fanboy. He loves his characters, he loves his material. Walter Hamada, it's like I still don't know why he took the job. I mean, he just does not strike me as somebody who had any kind of like big attachment to the DC universe and these characters, and I think that's very much reflected in his plan, quote, if you want to call it that, during his tenure. So with Gunn including the Authority, that is an indicator to me that he's really trying to get deep into the weeds on it. Now I see what you're saying, William, also, where it's like you're also kind of putting like your D-list characters up front, when you're kind of in a position where you really need to kind of earn back some goodwill. So I can see both sides of that.
Yeah. When I hear Lobo, I think of Black Adam all over again.
Well, we do have to keep in mind, as you said yourself, that the Authority film is being set up by the Superman film, and the Superman film is coming first. So people are going to see the Superman film. So it is going to be what.
Oh, and I agree. I just think the mention of the Authority, as far as being, I mean, people are bringing it up like it's, he's going with the Authority. They're probably going to be like.
There'll be background characters.
Background characters.
Not going to be the main. Not going to be unless they do something. Unless he wants to do something crazy where he makes them like villains and Superman goes like with it. But at the same time, I'm like, even when I was thinking about that last night, I was thinking about that today, going like, yeah, they probably won't go that direction. And then I mean, even Scott was like, yeah, I mean, because I even said like, well, what if they did like their villains in here and then their redemption arc is in their movie, but then you go, well, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, it's not so much that you want a redemption arc for them, because they do things, they get shit done, but not in the way that people would want it to get shit done.
I've seen a lot of people theorizing that, Gunn is maybe like setting up sort of an adaptation of Superman versus the Elite. He's just swapping out the Elite for the Authority.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it.
Wasn't that originally what it was in the comics, and then the movie was basically doing exactly that, switching the Elite for the Authority?
Possibly, but here's the thing: the expectations for DC are one thing, when and the expectations of Marvel are going to be different. So you also have to understand that. And at the same time, with this writer strike, like I've been saying before,
exactly,
we may be 3 years away from any of this. So much of this could change. Things change in 3 months. With the writer strike, this was not supposed to even be happening until September of 2025. So that was before the strike. So now the strike's been going on for quite a while, and it's probably going to go on throughout the summer.
Well, it's going to an after strike.
Yeah.
So we got the SAG going on.
So we're talking 3 years down the line. I'm sorry, but I any of this stuff that keeps popping up.
Yeah.
I know it's fun to talk about, but it's fun to talk about when we're like 18, we're closing in, and we got teasers and we got things. We're not even going to have anything in that on that level for another year.
Well, and
that's what's like.
To that point, because this is something I kind of wanted to ask you for a little bit, William, because anybody who's followed William's streams know that he is, he likes reboots about as much as he likes, root canals. But to kind of play devil's advocate on that, that one thing I wanted to ask you is, when, in your opinion, when do you think is the appropriate time to reboot? Whether you're talking about comics, movies, TV, whatever, when do you think would be the appropriate time to? And I'm not saying like with DC right now or generally just reboot. When do you think that becomes a viable option?
When you have an IP and you've exhausted all available momentum, all available capital of that IP to the point where it is no longer logical on a retail sense or in a narrative sense to continue along the same stretch. That is when you do it. Unfortunately, most people do it because they're fucking stupid and they're lazy.
Well, and that was what they did after the Dark Knight trilogy ended. That's why we got Man of Steel as a reboot, because the Dark Knight.
That's not a reboot. That's not a. Here's the thing,
technically not a reboot. Yeah.
Okay, remember what I said, Brad. Once things have run their natural course, the Dark Knight trilogy ran its course. All these things ran their course. Now, when you're talking about what we're doing from the DC universe we have now to what we're about to get, that's because of mismanagement and stupidity and laziness.
Absolutely.
That's what you don't do a reboot. But unfortunately, that's when people do reboot, because generally, for all the education these guys pile up, they're too stupid to reassemble and get momentum going. So they'd rather just start over again. But you got to realize, no one ever thinks from the customer's point of view. And that's what DC should be the professors of not doing reboots. They've done enough dumb stuff to where they could give a college course on why you don't do reboots. Yet here we are with them doing it again. Because continuity is king. Continuity is king. Your money comes from continuity. That safe place and people trusting you, knowing that you have a record. And when you're DC, you're now asking people to spend new money when all they have is 9 years of evidence of what you did with their old money. It's specifically the last 5 years. Because we wouldn't be here if, here's the thing, we have studio interference all the time. People get changed, people's scripts get butchered. It happens all the time. The kind of stuff that happened with Zack Snyder, to a certain degree, happens every day. The difference between what DC is when you don't know what you're doing, that's when people will see what's going on. When you were going to pull, if you didn't like what was going on from 2013 to 2017, that's fine. But if you didn't have a plan B, you needed to shut the fuck up. And that goes for anybody who says the next thing, that says, well, we didn't like what things are going. Okay, then what's your plan? Because if plan B ain't better than plan A, you don't have a plan. And when you tell people to move on, if you don't have anything to move on to, shut up. If they would have had something to move on to, we would have been okay. We would have been seamless. How many times did Feige change plans, right? It's seamless.
Well, and kind of going off of that, because I think that's very relevant to The Flash as far, and again, this is you and Dave having seen it, and trying to avoid spoilers here. The thing I'm finding pretty interesting with a lot of discussion about it is, and this is one thing I'm really excited to see in a couple of days here, is I'm really looking forward to kind of the and you've talked about this, William. There's a really kind of very sort of different explanation in terms of like time travel and parallel realities and things like that in it. And I feel like that really is, with a lot of the discussion around the movie, that's something that I think is really going to stand out. Is my reading of a lot of the reaction to it.
Smart people will take advantage of it. Without giving spoilers away, smart people will take advantage where the Flash leaves things. Stupid people won't. It's that simple. You
got a point. I mean, I get the gripes. I mean, I'm just one of those where I'm just like, all right. To me, when the Snyder Cut came out, I was like, all right, that right there was, to me, like that's 9.5 hours of what Snyder. Obviously, it's not everything that he got, and then maybe we'll get some form, whatever. We'll get like his completed story, but. When it came to that, and I knew, like, all right, after this, it's just going to go who knows what direction and whatever. And, and it's been a whirlwind. I mean,
apparently it's going to go to the Schumacher cut.
Yeah, right. And then, of course, we had, like, Dwayne Johnson trying to kind of correct the ship a little bit. But, I mean, let's face it, that guy is just – have you guys been seeing all this? I mean, Young Rock got canceled. And then there was even a report that the XFL, that he's like part owner, like lost a bunch of fucking money because nobody's watching. It's like he's having a string of like little failures that are happening. And
he's crying in a bed of money, though. I know
that's the thing.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's still gonna be okay. And then of course
I like Black Adam. Okay.
Yeah. Same.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible. It's just
fun. It was what it was. It should have never been made. I mean, neither should that. Listen,
I still want to see that Black Adam Superman fight.
Yeah,
it can still happen. But the thing about the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right, is people like to put the blame on him. If there had been proper management in place, there would have been. It's like you're in a plane, right? if you walk in and there's no pilot, I'm gonna, even though I can't fly the plane, I'm gonna do my best to do something, right?
Yeah.
There's nobody flying the DC plane. Blame those guys.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. I mean, like, this is why I do not, like, I don't care. Like, if people can talk about, well, he used Henry Cavill, or they can say that all they like, but if it hadn't been for The Rock, we would not have gotten Henry back, however temporarily it was. Which is why, look, I get it. You can say, oh, well, he used him for hype up his movie. No. Well, he was still got it back for however short a time it was.
Well,
I just
hate
They're
that
using
Cavill
Fossil
got
Batman
screwed
from 1989. They're using a Batman that hasn't been on the screen relevantly, and half of the demographic that's going to go see this movie was not alive last time Keaton was on the screen. So if they can use Fossil Batman and use him effectively, then why wouldn't The Rock use the most recent Superman you have?
I love
that you go through that.
I love that nickname you have for Keaton is Fossil Batman. I love that.
Fossil Batman.
Who by the way, like a Fossil Batman, who by the way did not have the no-kill rule at all.
Hell no.
With him back and all the people and all the real DC fans loving that he's back, I do not want to hear any more crap from them about Batfleck being a murderer.
No, he'll shove a bomb down your pants and smile about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people from the Ace Chemical Factory are all dead.
Oh, those guys they're fried.
They're dead. All right.
We're all dead.
Everybody's
dead.
Killed.
There's like somebody made a video. I don't know if I retweeted it or not, but I remember seeing it where they were talking about all of Batfleck's kills, and anytime they show Batfleck, and then all of a sudden they'll cut to Keaton killing somebody. Have you seen that video?
Yeah.
I don't think I have it. I'll look that up.
Yeah,
And again,
Larry, the voiceover on that video is hilarious, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and again, the Red Book edition of Batman Forever. There's a scene where Batman's trying to crack down on Harvey, and Two-Face says, "Look, Harvey, I'm not going to kill you." And then then Two-Face bursts out laughing and says, "Oh yeah, Batman doesn't kill. That's a laugh." He's calling attention to the fact that this Batman killed.
Yeah,
Well, and that's it.
And I love that, and that's part of the Schumacher cut that hopefully we'll be getting back. And I love that we're back full circle.
Nice.
Well, and that's the time I'm just happy that that's actually mentioned in there.
That's in the novelization.
Yeah.
That whole conversation where it's like that he mocks this moral purity. Go ahead.
Gordon says, "Do what you need to do. I'd rather have you take one of them out than them take one of my cops out. I'd rather you do that than you have to visit."
I hate Gordon so much in the Burton and Schumacher movies. I mean, it's like the joke I tell is that you call Keaton Fossil Batman. I call Pat Hingle Gordon. I call him Chief Wiggum.
Yeah,
he's so useless.
He's pretty much
slow fat Gordon.
Yeah.
That's really all he was, but that movie was so sensationalized. Like I said, 14-year-old me loved Fossil Batman. I wore the shirts. I bought everything. I watched the Prince video. I bought the action figures. I got the cars. I got the Batmobile. I got everything. 14-year-old me was down for Fossil Batman.
Oh yeah, we all were. I mean,
he was my first Batman.
He just doesn't.
No, but I mean, yeah, they didn't do a good job when it came to Gordon. The Gordon and Batman relationship was non-existent essentially. I mean,
what are you waiting for? The signal.
Yeah, exactly. What are you waiting for? The signal, and then yeah, even in Batman Returns, he's all, I guess the circus game is back, and then Batman just goes, and then he just walks away, and that was it. That was the only interaction that they had, and then in Batman Forever, there's a little bit more interaction.
I love that part when Gordon went chase Meridian, and it's like because I was a kid when I first saw Batman Forever, so you're not picking up on a lot of the. Let's say the kind of
sexual
chemistry
tension?
between but much more so now it's like, oh yeah, she's the worst psychologist in the world.
Oh yeah, she's bad.
But she does that whole bat signal trick with. She does that whole bat signal trick. It's like, oh, you just bring your scarred psyche, and then Gordon shows up in his bathrobe. I saw the signal. What's going on?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
One thing about the Flash is and James Gunn is kind of the key to this. When we've done movies when it comes to DC, we've always had this old Hollywood mentality. This, we will confuse you, and we can't do this storyline because we're doing this storyline with the same character because we'll confuse you. And I'll say this over and over again. I might get it tattooed on my thigh. When it comes to the multiverse and the excuse for not going forward with a Snyderverse or anything else or any other verse because it'll be too confusing. If your audience are a bunch of dummies, then yeah, it'll be confusing for them. If your storyteller is a dummy, yeah, they'll be confused. I don't think either is the case. I think the writers are talented. I think the storytellers are talented, and I don't think the fans are as stupid as a lot of pundits and a lot of people who run studios think they are. And with the Flash, it has been an absolute crime my entire lifetime that we have not found ways to exploit different versions of these characters. Yes, you have to do it smart. Yes, you have to manage it so you're not overlapping and oversaturating, but you can do that. And there's an opportunity here, in my opinion, to make all the money instead of making drifts and drabs every 3 to 5 years when a tentpole movie comes out. Make all the money. DC needs to be greedy and imaginative at the same time. And I think James Gunn can do that. But I think if the Flash does well, you notice his tone. You don't hear a lot of tweet. A lot has changed about his intercourse with fans as we get closer to this movie. I think he's taking a wait and see to see what he can use going forward. Because, be honest with you, he's going to need that momentum. Because we can sit on the internet and our small and tiny screens and praise how all his new slate sounds good, and some of it does. The general audience has 3 years to be distracted by everything under the sun until we get at least anything going from them. They're not us. They're not sitting. They're not on panels. They're not going to Comic-Con. They're not going to all this stuff. The vast majority of the people are going to be like, "Wow, you guys still exist."
Well, and kind of going off. Kind of going off of that. What you were kind of saying about Black Adam, and one thing I've said is, for as cool as it was seeing Henry's comeback cameo in Black Adam, it's like it shouldn't have been a comeback cameo because you've got an active DC franchise going on and you're not putting Superman into it. That tells you a lot about the management at the time.
5 years.
They just held grudges. It's just so weird how much of a grudge they held on the whole Snyderverse and Snyder in general, and the fact that they're like, now we're not going to use Henry, even though it's like you look at that guy and you go, how do you not use this man whose value kept going up every year? His value just kept going up, and it was like you're not gonna. You should have signed him on for fucking 6 more Superman movies.
Well, and
after Fallout was a success, and
big time.
They should have been like, all right, we got you. How many movies? 6, 7.
I mean, there was that Green Lantern crossover McQuarrie wanted to do. That sounded so cool.
Yeah, but then they just did not call him for God knows what reason. Probably just as you said.
It's like William. And it's like what William's saying. It's like they're holding these grudges at the same time they don't have a plan B. They're falling back into.
But I'm the asshole. I'm the asshole because I can't move on. Fuck.
It's like
everybody who tells me Snyder's trying to move on, literally find a toilet that you can dive into and see how far you can go. Because even you, if you don't have an answer to my question, move on to what? Polka Dot Man? I've seen every DC movie that came out. I've watched these movies. You haven't given me anything to move on to. What? Harley Quinn in the Fantabulous? What the fuck was that? What am I moving on to? Answer that question, and I'll be
it's a whole new thing.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, all these people like they cannot grasp the fact that, like it or not, the mainstream audiences, the folks that are not part of the DC fandom or whatever, their only response to a reboot is, "What? They're not going to continue this? I loved it."
One, especially after we saw No Way Home, where it's like they're bringing all the cinematic Spider-Man together, and then even more so now with Across the Spider-Verse, it's like before we even get to the Flash, the precedent has been set for. It's like these things can all coexist and not step on anybody's toes.
Well, that's what I'm kind of wondering too when it comes to Gunn. I'm kind of wondering how Gunn. Again, I mean, everything's so up in the air, and with the fact that even people are saying Gunn's not fully doing a reboot, and there's still going to be some people there's still going to be some characters that are still going to be part of this universe. I don't know. It's just such a mess, and I feel for Gunn because feel for Gunn and Saffron a little bit. Maybe not Saffron that much, but he was part of the problem beforehand. But when it comes to Gunn, it's like I can understand him just being like, I want to do this thing because I don't think we can clear up this mess that was already created over here. But then maybe he figured out a way to maybe kind of salvage it. I don't know if it's just utilizing again. You got who knows if 8 years from now all of a sudden we have like a crisis events movie that they actually finally figure out how to do, and then there is more I don't know, and Cavill does come back, or I don't know.
I mean,
It's
I
all
would
up
say
in the air.
this, like, despite, like, I am all for, like, I'm very gung ho with all that William has said about how, look, if the Flash is successful, that's gonna really kind of push for, yeah, we kind of need to continue this multiverse thing. But the one thing that is holding that back is the simple fact that Warner Bros. Discovery is struggling financially. Like, do they have the money to do a
Yes,
multiverse
they
thing?
do. Yes, they do. Like, can I just spell something real quick on your show because I don't. I, all right,
Yeah. Go ahead.
Warner Brothers has money. Warner
Yes.
Brothers has money. Let me show you. Pull up my Instagram. Warner Brothers just sent me 26 pounds of things that cost money.
Oh yeah, you sent me some.
Have
You sent me that stuff. Yeah.
money. They're
Yeah, I
doing
saw that,
okay.
man. It's like it's all over the place in your store.
Yeah, they're doing fine. People think because Warner Brothers incurred debt that they don't have money. They have what's called manageable debt. It's what Netflix has. Netflix is not eating TV dinners tonight, and they're 14 billion in debt. They're going to do fine. So they have the money to do whatever they need to do. The thing is there needs to be two things: desire and willpower. And let's go back to the Netflix thing, which caused like World War III because everybody wanted to write it off without using their brains. Everybody wanted to say, no, it'll never happen because they heard their sheep in their backyard that had the same thing. Nobody ever laid down why it couldn't happen. Now, here's the thing. Desire was the one thing. What should have happened is if you are Warner Brothers and you're James Gunn and you even see that come up as a topic of conversation, you know you got something desirable. Warner Brothers should not license out to something to Netflix. They should do it in-house. You have a
Yeah, I agree.
streaming service. You have
That's what I kept
theaters.
saying.
And what they really need to do is put all this together and brand these things like the House Targaryen, House Baratheon, everything. So when I'm watching something on HBO Max or Max, whatever that stupid alone, another.
Oh, that was such a stupid name change.
Yeah, but when I'm watching something on Max, I know that that's branded for Max. That is the kind of DC content that I'm watching on Max. When I'm going to the cinema, different things. You have my grandfather bought comic books. He bought Superman. My father bought Superman. If I had kids, we would be in our fourth and fifth generations of possibly living people that all collected a different version of these characters. If they're all still spending money, get a bigger bag. Don't take less money. Get a bigger bag and put the money in. Exploit the fact that if people connect with Sasha Calle as Supergirl, you need to give me more Sasha Calle as Supergirl. If more people connect with Fossil Batman, find a way to get the guy who's as old as my dad and playing Batman, you'll get more out of them. If people connect with a gray and blue suit Batfleck, guess what? Take the money until people stop handing it to you.
Yeah, I mean, they need to hire you. They need to hire you.
Yeah, well,
I will
to what
say this. I will say
Oh.
this, William. Do you want more Sasha Calle Supergirl after seeing the Flash? Yes.
Yes.
I said that too. Like, so I forgot who asked me last night, but I answered just as quick as you did. I'm like, yep.
I was watching what they did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and
So,
I was
that's
sitting
great.
and watching her. Yes.
Yeah.
to what
So
you
I'll say this, with all that you've said, William, I think like that really just pushes even more, as far as I'm concerned, that really just pushes even more the need to do, even if it's in the Elseworlds banner, like the Batman films or the Joker films, to get us that damn Man of Steel 2.
Or
Well,
something,
and to what-
anything you want. Anything you
What-
want, because the money is there to be made. The money is there to be made. The licensing deals are there to be made. McFarlane's just waiting for you to give him something to make so he can sell it to you.
Oh
You
God,
need-
yeah.
You
Well, and
have-
what,
Go
to your point, what you were saying about branding, and this is actually a point I've kind of tweeted this out in various points, and it's like the thing. I think the thing that's been so frustrating for a lot of fans is the fact that in a lot of ways it's like we've done a lot of the branding for them. I mean, the term Snyderverse.
Yeah.
I mean, we just handed that
They
to
owe us
them.
money.
Yeah, and so,
DCU, we handed that to them too.
yeah, and then of course you get things like the 1.5 million tweet day, which like that's such a frustrating thing for so many fans. I think because it's like, how do you get that kind of second chance just handed to you on a silver platter and you just turn it away? So to what you're saying about branding, it's like that's where I think so much of the
That's a cool
frustration.
poster. That's a great poster right there. I have that poster.
I
got
love
all
that one
three.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
You can come up
I mean-
with something like this.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
can come up with an
especially
Elseworlds
when-
logo that you every time you see it, it goes wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because that poster, like, because those are fan posters that they were giving away,
Yeah.
There was 3 at my screening, and they only said to take one, but I took all 3. I said, "Fuck that." They have a bunch, but
Let me know if you
that
need more.
hourglass one, I never saw. I saw the other 2 before, but not the hourglass one.
Yeah, I saw a show up on Twitter. It's like that's really clever in terms of like you're trying to like thematically connect to what's in the movie using hourglass.
So good.
Everything in the movie's here. Everything in
the movie is in there. It's very beautiful.
CIA
That is
is
probably
there.
the best one of the best posters right there.
Yep.
Yeah, you got
that-
Batman in there. You got everybody in there. And I saw
And-
that. I was
and-
like, shit.
Yeah.
And of course,
Better-
Andy Muschietti, a lot of red.
Better than floating heads any day.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
way
you
better
should-
than floating heads. Yeah.
When you watch HBO, no matter what show it is, what do you know? What do you see first? You see that static, and you see HBO, and you know some good shit's about to come, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you need to take the Elsewhere logo. Exactly. You need to take the Elsewhere logo, and you need to make that what DC should be for HBO Max. It will sell. It will sell. And people are like, well, how can they justify the money? Here's another thing that drove me crazy about the Netflix thing. I wanted to choke the life out of everyone, including people I know and listen to and love.
Go for
I
it,
wanted to
man.
suffocate you.
Give it to us.
Yeah.
No,
How
I
are
mean,
you
I don't
gonna
mean choke
justify
people, but just give it
spending-
to us.
Release.
How are you going to justify giving paying this much money for this? How are they going to make their money back? And I just wanted to gouge eyeballs at. That is not how any streamer thinks. That is not how Netflix thinks. They do not think on a singular basis like that. They think of overall value and what certain IPs can add to their value. They're a singular focus on what something can bring back. They don't have metrics to do that because it's not their business to do that. That's why you can spend $500 million on Glass Onion without worrying about, oh, can I make my $500 million back? It doesn't matter. What does it add to the overall value and your stockholders and everybody else and your lenders, all that? What does it mean to them? So when people were saying like, oh, well, you can't spend $200-300 million on that because you'll never make it back. I'm like, we're not talking about the old 1948 Hollywood schematic where I have to make every dollar back that I spent plus some. We're talking about streaming, and streaming is done by collective concern. So when you justify any amount of money, Stranger Things is there's no dollar amount that you can necessarily get back from Stranger Things. It's watchability, and it's what value does it bring, and it's also interconnectivity. Because guess what? When I jump on your streaming service, if I'm watching something like Zack Snyder's Justice League, and the way your streaming service works, if you're doing it right, it's going to lead me to a whole bunch of stuff. You got kids?
Yeah.
Guess what? Now they're watching it to you. So that one thing that you say I couldn't get my money worth back on has now led you to a whole bunch of things, and it's going to keep you a subscriber for most of the year. I'm going to get my money back for overall value. That drove me crazy doing that discussion.
Yeah, and apparently they might be thinking that with the Schumacher cut now, with the way Kevin Smith's talking.
Yeah.
It's all
And
about value.
it's not like it's not like Keanu Reeves isn't riding high, so almost enough to say like a Constantine too.
Oh man, it's like how do you not give Keanu like just a blank check for everything after John Wick 4?
I mean, the very fact that he's on record saying, "I want a Constantine 2," give it to him.
I know. Yeah, you would think because everybody, universally, and and universally loved. I mean, he is universally.
Well,
loved.
his comic Berserker, that's pretty good, and he's going to turn that to a big property for Netflix. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Can you highlight Nerdy Mastermind, please?
Nerdy. Which one?
The one that says Zaslav said the data. Okay, Zaslav is the same guy that said we're going to gear everything towards the cinemas too, and he said that in a bunch of hungry wolves that needed him to say that. He seems to be a guy that is going to say what's going to keep him in the good graces of a lot of people supporting him. As far as like spending $100 million on big blockbusters just for streaming is not profitable. Not profitable in the old dinosaur way that he has done things prior to, yes. But you're not talking about we're spending $285 million on Guardians of the Galaxy and we need to make 7 to break even. We're talking about bringing you into a collective mansion with a shiny door. I'm like, damn, the paint looks good on that mansion. I think I'll come in. Once you're going in, you're going to look around and say, you know what? I think I'll buy this mansion. You're not thinking singular. And that's the one thing about David Zaslav. Because he comes from that old school mentality, that is not the way of the future. There's no way you can exist on that.
James Gunn, please hire William to help at DC Studios.
Well, and just because Zaslav says something doesn't mean even he believes that. Because he stood out here in Cinecon, and I swear it's fucking lied. He stood in front of those people who were desperate to hear him say exactly what he said. There's no financial way that he's going to continue that. There's too much money on the table, and there's too many middlemen that you can cut out. Because with streaming, you ain't got to give 33% to the theaters. You don't have certain buyouts and payouts, and that's what a lot of the strike is about. But even still after that, if somebody makes $1 billion in a studio, it's not like David Zaslav gets his big bag of money and runs away with all $1 billion. So many people with backdoor deals and everything else get paid off lenders when all movies are made off of money that's borrowed for the most part. So they get their money back plus interest. So when you're talking about the streaming model, you're talking about cutting out a lot of that. So he stood up there and, in my opinion, lied to Caesar's Palace full of people and said he needed to say not to get booed off the stage.
Well,
So
and that's what
needed to hear that.
And that's what a lot of this strike is about now. Is with a lot of the basis of it is streaming residuals.
But see, that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing too. Is like, and I've said it many times. I'll say it again. It's just the fact that I don't think like these studios and everything were ready for the streaming, and they thought maybe it was going to be like a golden, like there's going to be like a treasure. There's just going to be money flowing like crazy, but apparently not. It wasn't the case. That's why now you're seeing like the different tiers with like the streaming service. They're almost trying to turn it into like cable tiers, like the cable company or whatever the hell. It almost seems like they're still trying to do that. It's like, oh yeah, okay, if you pay this much, you get full 100%, no ads or nothing. If you pay this much, you get a little bit of ads. It's all very weird.
Well,
but I'm seeing it looking like it's they're trying to revert back to the whole cable bundles that you get with Time Warner, Comcast, and Verizon.
And you have some experience with that.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. It's all these adjustments that they're making are bullshit, and they're temporary. Here's why. See, what COVID it's like time travel. It's like the Flash. We went into the future and saw all this money. Didn't know quite how we're going to go get it, but we know we want all that money. Yeah. So when we came back in time, and we took that future mentality with us to the present, and it's just not ready yet. But trust me, streaming is not failing. Streaming is not going anywhere. They're making temporary adjustments, but they're going to get to that same goal.
No. I totally agree with that. Like streaming is still what's going to be, but it just got pulled forward. We still had about 3, 4, maybe 5 years before. Yeah, but the pandemic was like, no,
you just threw them into the deep end. Yeah.
It just pulled it forward, and these companies were just not ready for it. That's why they're losing, and the cash flow is not there because they haven't figured it out yet. I think I'm hoping with the writer's strike and all the strikes that are happening, they figure it all out where everybody gets their cut, everybody gets the money, and they tap into them. I don't know. It's just but right now it's kind of messy. It's just kind of messy.
Okay, right Nerdy. You're bringing up things that are not. You're thinking old school box office because the movie made $100 million. Okay, great. Smile made $100 million in the theaters. They didn't get that whole $100 million. If you have 75 million subscribers, do the math. At $16, let's go low end. $15 a subscriber at 75 million. You do the math 12 times a year. There is no movie that you could put out in distribution. No movie that you're going to get that much of the profit margin back that is going to make you the money that a consistent subscriber base is going to have 12 months a year. If you're rolling in $1 billion a month, even with Disney, they're not going to pull that in. So
even Disney's struggling.
Yeah. So you're talking about putting movies out into the theaters. You're automatically losing 33%. That's off the top. You're automatically losing another 15% because that movie was financed. Even the big studios get financed by somebody else. So you're getting that money back, and you're giving 15% back in interest. Now you got to talk about if it made a certain amount, your star has to make this kind of money, and your backdoor, and a lot of different things that
I don't know how I did that.
Yeah, that are not getting. So great, congratulations! Smile made $100 million on thing. The collective value that Smile added to your streaming service is much more valuable than that $100 million.
That what's funny about that too is like, I mean, when he brought that up, I was like, well, I mean, I love the fact that there can be those small movies that still make that big of an impact when it comes to the box office, and and it's cool, but you never know. You don't know when that's going to happen. You just never know when that's going to happen.
I think also there's when you talk about a lot of the people that are in the industry are sort of waxing nostalgic about theatrical experience. I mean, I remember how much Kylar, ruffled so many feathers when he did the day and date thing, on Max. I think a lot of it is sort of tied to a lot of sentimentality in terms of, people in the industry, really sort of having this very grandiose idea of like the big, movie house from the 1940s kind of experience.
Whoa, someone vacuuming?
Okay.
Me.
Why? Okay, Monkey Jeebus. Why would I not put something big budget on a streaming service? If I'm thinking the right math, and I'm not thinking dollar per dollar, and I'm thinking of that billion a month that I'm bringing in, I damn sure am going to spend a lot of money on my streaming service.
You know what's big budget that's going to be on streaming in a couple of months? Rebel Moon.
Ah, yes.
Might drop.
Might drop that shit. No, I mean, it's all very interesting because I have the people I talk to that are in the biz, and particularly one always talks about doom and gloom. Everything's always doom and gloom. What?
No, I'm seeing the word profit, which means a lot to me, being used in the wrong way. You guys can't think of profit in the same way when you're talking about a collective advantage that streaming brings versus dollar per dollar. You can't. You're not in that boardroom. There's just no way. It would be like me not.
That's what I don't understand about it.
Yeah, you have to understand what value does it bring to your the goal of a streaming service is consistency. To be able to lay out your annual game plan because you know exactly how much money you're bringing in on an annual basis and consistently on a monetary basis. Not only that, that allows people to finance you for these big things and it allows you to make backdoor syndication. You could put big dollar stuff on any of these streamers, and with Warner Brothers, you have 500 million channels you could play them on and get ad revenue. You can't think of the profit immediately. We're looking at these box office mojos, and that's the way we think of things, and that's not the way a streamer works.
No, it's not. But okay, so what if if Zaslav ends up getting just like shit canned and sent out by the end of the year?
Oh, he got booed at that commencement speech. I could see that happening.
Well, the writer's strike. That's the writer's strike. I mean, everybody's an activist nowadays, so it's like that's what I even said about that. I'm like, even like at there, I mean, obviously everybody's holding up signs. Everybody nowadays does think of themselves as an activist, which fine, it's fine. I mean, that's just what the world we live in now. Not everybody is. People are, but some people are just like they have to shout whatever. But anyways, I don't know. But if Zaslav gets shit canned because the chair, the board of whatever the fuck he has to report to is not happy with what he's done, what would you say about that? Looking at what he's trying to achieve when it comes to all this stuff right now.
If he were to be, I don't think he would be removed right now because I think even though
it wouldn't be right now, but into next year.
Yeah, I don't like some of his decisions, but he's better than the last we got. But what would happen is I think the next person that is going to be the CEO of WBD is going to be a forward-thinking person that thinks with the Generation X and below. They're not going to think of dollars and cents because you can't. I mean, you literally have dinosaur logic coming in here, and because there's so many people who are at the table that need to eat, this new reality pushes a lot of those people from the table, whether they like it or not. There are going to be a lot of people who are making a lot of money that are going to be cut out of the game because of necessity.
Okay.
And that's going to be the next guy that
But I'm okay. So, but I'm also looking at like Disney. So Disney's also, they've been laying off. They've been, they have their struggles too. And well, for one instance, we have like Iron Wars or Armored Wars with what's his name, Don Cheadle. Remember that was going to be a series at first, and then they turned it into, we're going to release it as a theatrical release. Because I think the logic was like, we're not making enough when it comes to all these shows that we have. So now we got to start going back to at least putting them in the theaters first.
Huge difference though. But one of them is Disney.
Yeah.
And when you think of Disney is always going to prioritize movies and TV shows or fourth or fifth on the list as far as their priority.
Yeah, they make a fortune from their theme parks.
The theme parks is always anything that interferes with the theme parks. That's as far as where they have to cut, they're going to cut everywhere else before they cut. When you're talking about an entertainment company that is a studio first, and yeah, Disney is a studio, but that's not where their money comes from. When you're talking about the Netflixes and the Paramounts and all these other ones, you have to get people to buy into the overall value of your company in order for there to be any schematic. Disney has $38 billion annually in revenue that comes from their park alone. So these other things are just tools for them to feed into parks. Whereas Netflix, whereas Warner Brothers, there's everything else. Disney's already made the investment where they needed to make it in their parks. Warner Brothers needs to make the investment where they need to make their investment. Same thing with Netflix, everything else, especially Netflix, more so than anybody, because Warner Brothers has other outlets as well. Even though they're all dealing with motion entertainment, Netflix is onto themselves. That's why this strike is so important with Netflix. They can't budge. They're the ones that are probably holding things up because they can't give too much because their existence is on the line. But with Disney making a decision as far as cutting and doing things like that, we got to remember we're talking about something that's not a top priority for them to begin with. The parks are.
Really? I mean, yeah, the parks, I get that, but at the same time, it's like they've built this empire of they have Star Wars, they have Marvel, they have Pixar, and the fact that they have all that, they own 38% of the movie industry, and yet they're scaling back. I mean, to me, again, it just goes back to the whole these companies just weren't ready.
They're making adjustments. They're 5 years away, but where will Disney be in 5 years, though? See, even with Disney, who I think is doing it for different reasons because of priority reasons, 5 years from now, Disney's going to be all in. All these guys are going to be all in. And when you go to the movies,
because of the new Apple VR glasses. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Yeah, when you go to the movies, it's going to be like a No Way Home event. It's going to be like a Flash event. And, anything that's not at that level, a lot of that stuff is going to get cut out because distribution, a lot of the money is lost. A lot of your profit is lost in the distribution. So if you put it on your streamer, you've cut out. And for movie makers, for filmmakers, I know guys out here that are making movies that are trying to go straight to Shudder or go straight to certain outlets because – they can get financed better because of promise of return on their movies than they can, putting it in a theater sometimes. The theater is how the audience has been conditioned to take in movies, and that's right. That's fine. I don't want to see Dune on a small screen. I don't want to see Blade Runner on a small screen. But if I'm the guy paying for stuff, my mentality is different from the guy who's sitting in the seat. It's two different brains almost.
But okay, so staying in line with that, the fact that Fast X came out.
It's already on VOD.
Exactly. Like it came out.
And Vin Diesel is going to blame that on The Rock, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. He'll point the finger. No, but I'm like, it came out, and then I mean, to me, it's smart. The fact that it's like it made $500 million in the box office. It's still in the box office, particularly the international box office. That's where it's going to continue to make some money. Here, not so much. But I actually thought it was smart that they're like, because I saw a lot of people going, "Oh my God, they're already putting it out there." I'm like, yeah, but look how many fucking blockbusters are coming after it, and they saw the drop and they know. So I was like, yeah, smart for them to just immediately go to, hey, VOD. You could get that VOD money because it's more than a ticket if you're not paying IMAX at least. And I thought that was actually smart because it was like, okay, you have blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster just coming out after, and they could probably tell like the movie wasn't going to have the legs as like Guardians of the Galaxy. So why,
that's all. I mean, that's also. I mean, they're probably very cognizant of the fact that the audience that there's definitely you're seeing the diminishing returns on the Fast Saga at this point because the series is. I mean, jumped every shark there is to jump at this point.
Yeah,
and also they have to control their budgets these days too. And the streaming bubble is not popping. And like I said, we did the time travel thing. They know the money that they can make. They are just making the adjustments that they jumped over with. But the streaming bubble. And there's another question there: why would you compete with yourself over rival streamer? Money, licensing. If one company licenses something to the other, that's 100% profit. And I'm still controlling the IP. Limited licensing agreements are not forever.
Yeah.
I mean, Sandman won't be on Netflix forever.
It's all pretty crazy. Like, especially when things jump around, like certain, so-and-so, this movie is moving to this, and, they share all the stuff.
Like, case in point, with Fast and Furious, I mean, they have, like, that animated show on Netflix, right?
Oh, jeez.
They had an animated show?
Yeah, it's like Spy Racers, something like that.
I didn't know about that at all.
Yeah,
That shows you how
I-
much I'm checked out of the Fast.
I haven't seen it. I just know of it, but again, that's on Netflix. And so, they also have a similar thing with the Jurassic World. They got the animated show with the kids on Netflix. So yeah, that's kind of what William's getting at.
Yeah, it's like I said, we're using the lens of everything we've always had at our disposal to try to judge where things are. It's like getting with a construction guy and saying, you know what, I want you to give me your hypothesis on how we should be building houses on Mars. The fuck's that guy gonna know? Nothing.
Not gonna know
Nothing.
much.
So we're but that's all we have. We that's all we have. The only way we've taken in these things and dealt with these things is through box office results and the type of profits that are from them. But we're not necessarily in that era anymore. And like people can't understand that's really the way things are going to end up going.
William, I got to ask at this point. I'm assuming, because I think you've mentioned on a couple of your streams, but I'm assuming you still haven't seen Fast X.
No, I sent a bunch of people to see it, but after you duct tape a car and it goes into space, that's why I just can go watching. I
checked out after a submarine was chasing after them.
Yeah, if you're out of this, if you're checked out of the series after the last couple, Fast X is not going to be the one to bring you back in.
But I will say, just because I love movies, and I even said this about Transformers. I don't know if anybody saw Transformers here.
I did. Yeah.
Even though I'm like over, and even like when I was watching Transformers, I literally went, like, I dozed in some of the, in between stuff. Opening was strong, and I thought the final act strong as well. I was like, all right, good, action, cool. I'm liking most of what's happening right here, at least.
Yeah.
But I'm like, as much as I'm checked out of like both Fast and Transformers, the way that they end things, or they, at least the last two, I'm like, all right, well, I'm okay. I'll see the next one, even though I'm kind of checked out, because I just love movies, and if you can grab me a little bit right there, fine.
Well, Fast and Furious with me, it's like after 7, because that was probably, a lot of people said that would have been like a good place to kind of wrap things up.
Well, yeah.
But after 7, like Hobbs and Shaw, that's been the only one after 7 that I really liked. Yeah, so
it was fun.
Yeah, it's got one half of the John Wick duo directing it, so that's part of it right there. But also, with the announcement of The Rock being back to do his the Hobbs spinoff, that's sort of the hook for me. It's like, okay, I'm still kind of on this train, because like I'm kind of holding out for like another Hobbs and Shaw out of it all now.
Yeah,
it's just one of I don't hate watch it. I just go, all right, show me what you got now. But I mean, for the most part, I'm probably going to be like, but that's part of the gig, and that's part of the reasons why I like to go to the movies. I like to watch these movies, and even though I'm not fully impressed by them, but then then I go see The Flash or Across the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse is number one right now when it comes to 2023 for me. Yeah. The Flash is, I'm going to see it again, but I mean, The Flash, as much as I enjoyed it, it's probably in top 5, but it's not like I'm not one of those people like best DC movie ever.
Dune, I still have Dune to come.
Oh,
yeah.
My number
Mission Impossible also.
Without having seen The Flash yet, my number one currently for this year is John Wick 4.
Yeah, see, yeah.
700 million. Yeah. Here's the thing about anybody who says that it's going to be the movies, it's going to be the movie theaters are always going to be king. When every innovation ever happens, it's not the corporations or the bosses that cause it to happen. It's people. We don't have bookstores because you guys chose to buy from Amazon. We don't have a lot of video stores because we chose, the consumer chose streaming. All the big bosses did was make it available. Now, when you talk about movie theaters, now if you have a family of 4, just a standard nuclear family, and you know what it costs to take that family to the movie, and maybe on multiple occasions. The financial dynamics right now are already there to tell you that there will be big budget stuff that will be going to streaming, and that'll probably be 50% of all productions will end up going straight to streaming within the next 5 to 7 years. It's just because the consumer will demand it.
But the thing is, like, you got to realize too that things always do kind of make a comeback. I mean, look at like records.
Oh yeah,
comeback. and like bookstores are still, there's still
They're
bookstores.
trying to come back.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is
via
that,
Amazon, ironically.
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, there is like when we get so digital, sometimes people are like, fuck, we need to have physical shit. That's why, like, physical media, everybody like talks about getting physical
Well, and
media.
Hulu, they just pulled a ton of stuff off of there, just recently. And one that pissed me off in particular was I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's called The Princess, with Joey King. Which, if you haven't seen that, I kind of liken it to. That's basically kind of like the raid in a medieval tower.
Nice.
And they took that off of Hulu, and it's nowhere now. That pisses me off because I really dug that one.
People wonder why we love physical.
Yeah.
I mean,
we say this, and I agree, because that random encounter that you have at a bookstore, or video store, or wherever, is why I'm even sitting in a place like this, and why I even decided to open a place like this. So I 100% agree. But the consumer is the judge, jury, and executioner of all this. If they want more physical media, then they can speak louder than any corporate shill can. If they wanted bookstores to stay around, if they wanted that, then, like I said, the consumer spoke by their spending or lack thereof based on what was available to them. But the consumer, like I said, if you're talking about the difference between you have these movies coming out 3 and 4 in a row, you're gonna, if your financial situation is what it is, you may have to eliminate seeing one of those in the movie theater altogether, not because you don't
100%.
like the movie, but because you can't afford to. So what good does it do for the theater model to not have that person show up at all? And you're giving 33% away of that dollar. Why don't you give that to them in their living room where you have their money and you're going to keep them for years on, and you can collectively absorb that impact? It's like insurance. This building that I am in is worth millions of dollars, but if I burn it down, let's not do that. But my insurance collectively takes care of it, right? So that's what it is with streaming. But the consumer has brought us here, not Zazoff. Zazoff can lie and say, we're going to stay in the theaters and we're going to eat, buttered popcorn, and we're all going to do like it's in the 70s. That's great. But if the consumers say, you know what, I can't afford it, Dave. I can't afford it. You're putting out, I want to see Spider-Verse, but I want to see The Flash. I want to see Indiana Jones, but I want to see Mission Impossible. I can afford to see 2 of those with the kids. And it also rewatchability. It affects rewatchability when because your kids, you can't go see The Flash.
Well, I mean, that's why I was saying that putting Fast X on VOD, because then it's like, all right, you pay $20, the whole family can watch it. You have it for like 2 days maybe, or you buy the whole thing. I don't know how it's like working right now, but I mean, that's why I thought it was smart, because again, they had like almost a 55% drop second weekend. They knew that the thing probably wasn't going to have legs. There's too many blockbusters that's coming out after it. So fuck it, put it on VOD.
It is worth watching solely for Jason Momoa in it, though.
Oh yeah, Momoa is great.
Well, he's a MILF magnet.
Well, not only that, he knows exactly what kind of movie he's in. I think that's the kind of the thing between him and Vin, because there's that rumor that Vin Diesel was now feuding with Jason Momoa.
I don't believe that, by the way.
I think that was a lie.
Well, but the thing about it is that, because I think this might be like a little tinfoil hat kind of talk on my part. I think Vin Diesel, I think in a lot of ways he's kind of started to blur the lines between where he ends and Dominic Toretto begins.
Probably.
But Jason, he knows exactly what kind of movie he's in. He is just having a ball in Fast X.
It's great.
Yeah, you will see a compromise when it comes to theaters and streaming, especially for the ones who own the studios that put them out. Is these windows are not going to be 50 and 60 days. You can forget about that. We're going to get 30-day windows and 40-day windows.
That's pretty
and so that and then I'm okay with that. And then, that brings your value, value to the thing. And trust me, the people who can and want to go see movies in the theater, like the day and day thing you brought up, people malign that. The Keelar. Keelar was public enemy number 1. How could you do this? You ruined it. John Campbell. How could you do this? You ruined the industry. And I thought grown men were going to have babies on live air. All right, none of those movies. We promoted every damn one of those movies, from the Matrix, every one of them.
Oh yeah, we all did. Yeah.
One of those movies that was going to lose or make it be a deal breaker in a cinema. No, The Matrix would have got someone fired for releasing that on the theater, because that was an awful movie and it cost money. The Suicide Squad the Suicide Squad would have made money. Okay, great. No, it wouldn't. It lost them $21 million. And if you look at Kong versus Godzilla, that was released the same day and day. And the people who wanted to go see Kong and Godzilla in the theaters went to the theaters. The people who wanted to see Dune in the theaters went to the theaters. The people who weren't going to. They weren't going to. There are a lot of people now that are going to go see Dune Part 2 that never saw it in the theaters, but they saw it on HBO Max.
Yeah.
So now I'm not going to put Dune 2 on streaming, right? Not yet, but I got a bunch of people who would have never given that long ass brilliant movie a chance. It's just the premise alone. So they weren't going to lose that. Now, you didn't see them putting like, The Flash on streaming. You wouldn't have seen them putting a high leverage movie on streaming. They put movies out there that were gray area movies or that were probably going to bomb in the theaters anyway. And they put them on day in release. And it increased, the value of things. Now, should you do that all the time? Who knows? But you have to understand that the old theater model, even though I enjoy it, I don't have 4 or 5 kids. I don't have a mistress. I don't have a mortgage.
Yeah, the last thing I saw of my folks and my sister and my nephew like in the theater, we all saw was Avatar 2 over Christmas.
And that's an experience.
I can't even remember the last time before that we had all seen something theatrically together. But that's to your point about like you got to weigh the economics of it. But also what you're saying about Kylar and the day and date thing. Kylar, from the way he was talking, it's like I think he was game for more Snyderverse.
Yeah,
that's what we were kind of hoping, and we were all hoping that it was going to be on HBO Max.
Yeah. And that was the right answer. That was the right answer. But everybody was thinking 1974 thinking, and we can't do this because it's going to confuse people. Or why we should just do a reboot. And like I said, what I'm finding out about fandom the longer I'm on this little platform is it's like a game of telephone where somebody said something dumb. But if a bunch of people say something dumb, that one person who has some common sense is going to say the dumb thing too, because he wants to be in league with the other dumb people. I've heard people say reboot.
The league of dumb people.
They say reboot, but they don't understand the consequences and the dynamics of what a reboot means. And that's why most reboots, if you look at them, if you analyze them for the most part, they fail or they have middling results. Because you started on the wrong foot to begin with. You started with a lack of an idea to begin with. You started with the inability to fix something decent, and instead of just salvaging, you spent a whole lot of resources starting over again.
And that's
so many times people want to start over again. People get tired of that. There's a Foo Fighter song. Dave, you're a Foo Fighter fan. There's a line in the Foo Fighter songs. I'm getting tired of starting again somewhere new.
Walk.
That's fans. Fans get tired of that over and over again. They want stability. They want continuity. That's where your money is.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the Flash is so. I'm just so interested in what the whole explanation of of alternate realities and time travel is, because it just seems from the reactions I've seen, it seems like, and Dave, what you said about like this movie is done in such a way like it's preserving the Snyderverse. So it's like, but it's also been described as the reset. So it's like, okay, you're resetting, but you're doing it in a way that doesn't retcon or erase anything. And that's what I find really interesting about it.
Yeah.
He's smart. See, Gunn is smart.
Is smart.
Reboots are stupid. Gunn is not stupid.
So he's trying not to make it like it's like a reboot now. It does make sense. So and hopefully, like when it comes to this whole new thing, it's just going to be interesting to see where all of it goes and how people responded to Flash, and then even the further on, like what's happening this year, with Aquaman and Blue Beetle. That's going to be also interesting when it comes to DC. But let's go ahead and wrap it up right here. We're going 2 hours, and I was like, all right, 2 hours is a good spot to end this great conversation as usual, guys.
Dave, by the way, before you sign off real quick, one thing I did want to get in real quick, and I did put this on Twitter because this does relate to the Schumacher cut. Is I don't think because seeing the video where Kevin Smith was talking about it, and they're going to be talking more openly about it on the 19th. I don't think Kevin Smith gets enough credit as he should for really kind of being one of the driving forces for the Snyder cut. I mean, he was blowing the whistle on that early on.
I saw your tweet, and I agree with that.
Yeah, he was beating that drum early on. I think he was very instrumental in that, and I think the Schumacher cut, from the way he's talking, I think it's like that'll probably be the case if that's where we're headed.
Yeah, he was one of the reasons that I got on board with it in the first place. That hey, the Snyder cut does in fact exist, and it's not just a whole bunch of deleted scenes like a director's cut.
Oh yeah, he was the one that was like, because they had that girl in the crowd, and it was like, oh yeah, there's Darkseid in it. Darkseid's in it, and I mean, like that really got like everybody added to it. It added
because everybody's saying like, how do you take Darkseid out of your very first Justice League movie?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And before we do the signing off again, like one thing I wanted to bring up is that you brought up the whole Transformers thing. I mean, look. The only reason I would have had any interest in watching Rise of the Beast is because as a kid I had the Beast Wars game, which is half board game, half card game, and I gotta say that was pretty much that, and the tie-in, animated series that went with it is pretty much all I really knew of the Transformers franchise until the Michael Bay movies came in. Because I gotta say, when the movies came out, I was like, wait a minute, Optimus is a truck? I thought it was an ape.
That's the tragedy of Transformers, is that Beast Wars exists, and that it took you 4 decades to get Unicron on the big screen.
Yeah. Well, he was in one of the Michael Bay ones, but it wasn't that great.
Nah, I don't count. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, a lot of people,
I haven't seen
a
it.
lot of diehard Transformers fans do not like that usage of Unicron. But I think they'll like, I was saying that last night to Scott, because I know he's a big Transformers fan. It's like, yeah, I think he'll like how they handle them here. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, great discussion as always. And of course, thank you guys, of course, for the support of the channel. And obviously, we'll go around, and anything that anybody has to promote, the floor is yours. Eric, you got anything?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Hardboiled Films and YouTube at Hardboiled Entertainment. Right now, I'm focusing on some writing projects of mine, like there's some comic books that I'm working on, and some others possibilities. I mean, as for Sunset of the Gods, I mean, yeah, as of right now, we are kind of waiting, because we are kind of debating over, okay, how can we give this some new life, or should we kind of act? I mean, right now, I think, as you may remember, like last time we were talking about it, we're pretty much agreeing that, hey, if we're going to continue, that we might have to do some fundraisers. Obviously, half of it going to AFSP, but it's like, look, if we want, look again, folks watching, if you want to see this, you got to help, you got to take part. It really just depends on how much do you want it. Well, how willing are you to help with the hype at the very least. All right. So me, my sidekick droid R7D6.
There you go. Brad, you got anything?
Yes, I'm Brad Curran. You can find me on Twitter and Vero at Brad Curran. You can also find my writing on Screen Rant and Kung Fu Kingdom. And actually, I have something to plug myself. It relates to The Flash.
Nice.
You guys actually might have seen me share this, where this is through my work with Kung Fu Kingdom, which, I mean, that site's pretty self-explanatory. It's about martial arts, Hong Kong movies, things like that. I actually did an interview with Mr. Mike Lambert, who was the fight coordinator on The Flash, and also part of the team for that on Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Nice.
And we just went through so many great stories about his work with Jet Li and Van Damme and those guys, and just getting up to his work on his ZSJL and The Flash, and it was such a blast talking to him. So, if you guys are going to want to hear some behind-the-scenes stories on that, just click on that link. It's right on my Twitter.
Nice. Like it. All right, William.
You can find me, just Google Sci-Fi Center. You can follow my YouTube channel, youtube.com/at the Sci-Fi Center. And go see Flash.
There it is.
Friday.
Absolutely plan to.
Everybody needs to go see it. It's fun. Go see it. Friday
Yeah.
the 16th.
There you go.
And if you're local, please come by and grab some posters.
There you go. He's got a ton of posters there. There
I
it
need
is.
to
All right,
go
guys.
sometime. Check that out.
Appreciate it, and appreciate you guys. Appreciate the Patreon family for support, extra support. If you want to be a part of it, subscribe. I try to do added stuff, posting self podcasts, and then of course trying to do this once a month. Have a chat. Come on and have a chat with me and everybody else here. So, anyways, guys, we love you, and we'll talk to you later.
Amen.